Welcome, everyone, to the Meaningful Hearts Podcast, where we discuss the everyday questions that make us or break us if we let them. I am your host, Drew. Take my hand and let's walk this journey together. Welcome, everybody. Happy Monday. I am your host, Drew, and I am back for another episode of the Meaningful Hearts Podcast. Today, I'm going to switch it up a little bit, do a little story time. Overcoming all odds. Were there some things in your life that you had to overcome and put you in a better place now? Maybe you're more successful. Maybe you were in a really serious situation. Maybe you were in jail. Maybe you made some bad decisions. But you rose above the turmoil to become a better person, an upstanding citizen, a better father, a better mother, a better brother, a sister, guardian, what have you. I want to talk a little bit about that. In our everyday lives, there are things that we go through, right? There are obstacles that we face every day. Everybody starts at a different point in their lives. And to meet the next step in their lives, they have to make a conscious effort to get there. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. But I really wanted to share a story with you about a woman named Rose Blumkin. She escaped from Russia and migrated to America during the 1940s. While in America, she didn't speak any English. Her and her husband lived a pretty modest life, but she had an idea for a business. She created a furniture business with $500 in her pocket. She did it out of her husband's shop in the basement. Fast forward 4 decades later, she grabbed the attention of billionaire Warren Buffett. And now why this is so interesting is the fact that she had an idea and she stuck to it and she was diligent with it. And in 1983, Warren Buffett bought her store, Furniture Mart, for $60 million and made it part of Berkshire Hathaway, which is Warren Buffett's company. Buffett said that the transaction was a simple handshake. Just a simple handshake. It's pretty heartfelt to think that you could do a simple handshake on a business worth $60 million. But yeah, she continued to work there until she was 95 years old. But then family got involved. Her grandchildren took over the business and she kind of felt out of place. And I guess it became a feud at a certain point. So what did she do at 95 years old? She opened up a rival store across the street that did discount furniture. That caused her family to feud with her even more, obviously, because a rival business from your family member. But later, that pain subsided as I guess they got onto common grounds, leading to Buffett buying her business out again, which is pretty interesting. Blumkin retired at the age of 103 years old. She just had a crazy work ethic. It was said that she would work 7 days a week, no matter what, and she even put off her 100th birthday until after store hours. She passed away in 1998 at the age of 104. Amazing. It's an amazing story. Now, this is one of tons of stories of people coming from other countries or people coming from different places or people coming from adverse places where maybe they're not able to do the things that they want to do, or they're being held back from those things, maybe due to economic issues, maybe financially, that maybe that's where their starting point is, and maybe they're not able to make the money they can to start the venture that they want to, but they always seek a way to get there. Now, What I am saying is, well, better or less. So as you can see, not all of us start off at the same point. This is just one example of tons. People that have some really unfavorable circumstances, but they use it as a springboard to liberate them to go further in life. We are all on a journey somewhere, and we really don't know what it's going to take to get to the next part of it. But at the same time, we can't give up. We cannot give up the dream or the thought that there could be something better on the other side. Whether we're impacted by our financial situation, or maybe we have a handicapped, something that might start us off in an unfavorable position per se. And then we have to learn how to navigate the waters with what we have and make it to the other side. And crazy enough, the journey is really fast, right? And crazy enough, we think this woman lived 104 years, right? To think about that, right? I'm sure for her, that didn't seem like time just went so slow, right? She was so caught up in her journey of building this business that her time on earth flew by. And I'm sure that she struggled a lot along the way, but I'm sure part of her inside wished she could do it again. And something inside of me tells me that when I struggle, this is the part of the journey that you're going to look back and say, damn, I wish I could do it again this way. Wish I could go through this again knowing what I know now, right? So we should be able to look at things that way. And I want everyone to really think about that, right? How old are you? Some of us are in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, however old you are. And I want us to look at our age and say, you know what? What did 10 years ago look like and up to now, and what have I done in that time frame and how fast it flew? I want us to all look at that time we spent. And some of us made it to the other side in 10 years doing something that we always dreamed of doing. And I'm proud of you guys for doing that. I'm proud of every single one of you that took the time to go after your dreams and chase it and spend that time to do it. But I'm sure that you look back at that journey and you probably say to yourself, I wish I would have spent a little more time enjoying it, enjoying the process, right? I think we should all look at our past selves and look at our current selves and say, you know what, even though things might have been tough or hard, I wish I would have spent more time in enjoying it and living in it. So every day I wake up, even though, with the pandemic and things that are going on right now, listen, we don't know what the future is going to bring, but the one thing we can control is how we feel and how we act now, right? So if you are going through a really tough time yourself right now, and I'm sure a lot of us are, I want you to keep one thing in mind, that nothing is forever. Nothing. There is nothing that is forever. Everything is temporary. The only thing that's final is death and taxes. But I just want us to really focus on that. Focus on the fact that there is so much more to life than we think, but we get hung up on these silly things. We get hung up on some of the silliest shit, right? We get all crazy and flustered. We can't find our keys, or, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to wear tomorrow for this event. And it's an event. It's an event. It's going to be over in 4 to 5 hours. And you spend all this time stressing about it. And after it's over, you're probably drinking or hanging out. And you're like, wow, I spent all this time worrying about this. For what? It's over and done with. On to the next thing. But the real question is, right, what are we doing with ourselves right now? What are we... It's really true. On to the next thing. And then what's next? Something will always come up, right? Something will always come up. There will always be something standing in your way, causing a roadblock, right? And then after you get over that roadblock, you move on to the next thing. And that other thing that you stepped over, that roadblock, whatever it was, wasn't that big of a deal. And I think that we have to really sit there and navigate these waters, right? And deal with these things. It's going to be, if you can expect and anticipate that nothing is ever going to go your way all the time, most of the time it's not, you're going to have smooth sailing, because when you hit a roadblock, you can be like, aha, here it comes again. But with that roadblock comes another pillar of success that you can get to after that roadblock, depending on what you're doing, right? So maybe not starting out at the same spot that somebody else did. We all get hung up at a certain point in the race called life, right? You know, you might start out with no money. Somebody else might start out with money, but you have the drive and the dream and the knowledge, and they don't. So you'll quickly surpass those people. You know, it takes more than just a decent starting point to get to where you want to go. Some people have no idea what they want to do. You know, they might be liberated by being, having maybe their parents hold their hands the whole time and paying for everything and going to the best schools. But they're not necessarily learning survival skills. They're not necessarily learning how to be independent, which I think a lot of people need to learn. I think a lot of parents are pampering their children and not really giving them the chance to swim a little bit on their own and to understand values and understand how to become an independent person. I think that's super important. And a lot of us learn character not by choice. We learn character by being put in really extraordinary, maybe sometimes unfair circumstances in order to grow up and survive. Not by choice, but we get put in these scenarios. But once we get past them, it does build character, and also helps us become who we're going to become, be smarter, gives us an edge. It also allows us to come against things that might make other people scared, or things that you might have to face later in life. You get over it early, so you have an advantage there. So I think that at a certain point in life, we got to look at all these things, right? We have to look at everything. We have to look at not just where we start, but where we end up or where we're at, and benchmark that and say, hey, this is where I started and this is where I am now. I've made some progress, right? I've made some progress in my life. I've overcome some things already. You can build on that. The one thing I don't want you to do is to use where you've started as a reason why you can't move forward or do anything. That's the one thing I don't want. I really want you to take your scars and all the punches that you've received, and I want you to use them to liberate you and make you a strong person. You wear them as badges of honor. You've been through some stuff. Makes you smarter, believe it or not. Makes you emotionally sound. Emotionally intelligent. That's something you can't buy in a store. I don't care how much money you have. You can't buy emotional intelligence. You can't buy the ability to manage the way you feel. That's something you have to discipline yourself to do. I think some of the most extraordinary people come from the hardest places. The ones who actually do the biggest transitions in their lives, doing some of the almost unheard of things. It's really, really, really impressive, because it takes so much heart. It takes so much strength. It does. And we could all be better tomorrow. We could all be better. But we have to make these choices. I have to be better tomorrow. Everyone has to be better tomorrow. I'm speaking for not just people I'm talking to, but I'm talking about myself. It's a constant struggle. Don't get me wrong. Right? I've come through some some humble beginnings, but I still struggle, but I still can't use those as excuses why I haven't gone where I've gotten. But I also want to know who else out there has maybe had a real struggle, has been somewhere that maybe or has a good story, something that they can tell other listeners. I would love to hear some of your success stories. I would love to hear some of your challenges that you faced in your life. I would really love to hear some of them. I think that's really huge. Because sometimes we think what we're going through is really big, and then we hear somebody else speak, and then we're like, wow, this is like a cakewalk compared to what they're going through. And I've seen people that have some of the most extraordinary situations that would cripple most of us, and people take it with stride and they smile. It's incredible. It's incredible. A good friend of mine told me, in India, he's from India, and he tells me of some of the people that he's seen, street vendors, people that literally have nothing. And they save up whatever they can, and they might be able to buy a cart or buy a fryer or buy something small. They barely have enough money to put sandals on their feet. But they will come out every day and they will smile and they will give you the best product they can give you with pride. Knowing that tomorrow and the next day and the day after that will just be the same as it is. But they do it with such pride. And it's really a beautiful thing. Almost prideful enough that if you were to offer them a ton of money or something that would maybe move them out of the position they're in, I mean, they might be inclined to take it, but chances are they might actually give you something for free without you offering them anything. But they might even turn down the money because of their pride. It's beautiful in the fact that somebody that could be going through something, you could say, wow, this is pretty low. This is pretty intense. And they're able to smile at you and brighten your day. And you're going through nothing close to what they're going through. It's amazing. It's amazing what you can do with your mind. It's amazing what you can go through in your mind. If you can manage your emotions and you can manage the way you feel about things, it's incredible. So overcoming adversity or overcoming obstacles, however difficult they are, if you can manipulate the way you feel and work with your mind to overcome these obstacles, you could do amazing things. Amazing things. That is the biggest challenge that we all face, is ourselves. Everything we have is inside of us. Mind is amazing. The mind is amazing what it can do. I just wanted to leave that there. Hopefully you got a little bit of inspiration from this, or hopefully you got some sort of energy from this, and maybe you started digging up in your mind some of the things that you've gone through, or maybe a beautiful story that you've heard or somebody shared with you. And I would love for you to share it with me and our audience. I would love to have you on the show. Please reach out at the Meaningful Hearts Podcast at gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you all. God bless you and have a great night. Thank you.